Welcome into PressBox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of PressBox and PressBoxOnline.com. With me is the old left-hander wearing the white hat. That is Ross Grimsley. And how are your thumbs today, Ross?
Oh, they're working great,
All right, good,
as
good
usual.
All right. Luke Jackson, managing editor of the website, PressBoxOnline.com, and and the every other month publication. We call it bi-monthly. PressBox, the print edition. That's Luke Jackson. Luke, how are you?
My thumbs are ready. My thumbs are ready for whatever
So
you
are
need.
mine.
Look very thumbsy.
And you'll hear all about those thumbs during our Costas in commercial a little bit later on in the show. As we hit the airways, we want to remind you that we're brought to you by a couple people, and we're going to tell you who, in addition to the Costas in. What company makes your home more energy efficient, kills all allergens and viruses, and qualifies you for $6,000 in rebates? That would be AJ Michaels. That's right. Turn to the experts, AJ Michaels and Carrier at ajmichaels.com. And we're also brought to you by Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. If you're craving that classic New York deli experience, look no further than that new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different, a bar. Atman's has food and drink specials every day. Now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at the bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition since 1915. Find them at Harbor Point or visit atmansdeli.com. And we want to also remind you, we're glad you are watching us, and we'd appreciate it if you'd like, follow, and share our show each and every time. It helps us build up a little bit of the cumulative effect of the show that is measurable. So we would appreciate that. All right. We're gathered today. I thought today I'm sort of tired of beating the same dead horses, even though we're only on weekly. It seems like for the last month, we've been harping on injuries, starting pitching woes, bullpen woes, and hitting woes.
It's everywhere.
But it is
Yeah.
everywhere. And I think, Ross, I start off with that as I thought we'd sort of do a preview just before Labor Day. I don't think there's a great team in Major League Baseball this year that really stands out like a sore thumb or a positive thumb.
Really, or a good arm.
Yeah.
No, it is. I mean, just looking at the teams playing now, the Phillies haven't been playing well. The last 10 games, there's only, I think, 3 or 4 teams that are, actually playing well that are 7-3 over a 10-game span. But yeah, everybody is kind of with all the injuries, and there is just a plethora of injuries, everywhere, especially pitching and players for that matter. But some of these guys are coming back, and then we come back toward the end of the season, and that should be a boost for some of these teams to possibly get them over the hump, or at least get them in the wild card games.
Luke, the two best teams over, I'd say, since the All-Star break, both come out of the NL West, and I don't think one of them is the Dodgers. I think Arizona and San Diego have been incredibly hot for a sustained period of time. And in the case of the Padres, they should have Yu Darvish back in the next week to 10 days, and they should have Fernando Tatis ready like about September the 10th to 15th. That's quite an addition of two, like as if you acquired them in a mid-September trade.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers haven't played fantastic ball of late, but they've certainly played well enough to fend those teams off.
Yeah.
And they've had to play pretty well in order to do that. Let's give a shout out to Severna Park's own Jackson Merrill, who looks like he is the front runner for the National League Rookie of the Year award.
You don't think Colton Cowser can beat him for the National League Rookie of the Year?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Damn, I was looking forward.
Merrill had a walk-off home run yesterday. He's had a terrific year. He came up as a shortstop, then transitioned to the outfield this spring and took to center field pretty much immediately. He's had a fantastic year. And Arizona as you said, has played as well as anybody since the All-Star break. They had one little hiccup at the Trop, I think 2 weekends ago.
Yep.
And Orioles fans are well aware of what a weekend at the Trop can devolve into. So we understand. And so, yeah, I mean, but those might be the three best teams in baseball. Maybe, maybe.
But
But I will
yeah, go
say
ahead.
this, when Judge and Soto are both hitting the way they are since the All-Star break, and really since May 1st, both of those guys, it's really hard to beat that team too. And it just seems like every time you look at Twitter, Judge and Soto are hitting monster home runs. So
Yeah.
Judge has 51 home runs, and he really had a bad April. I mean, just remarkable. Remarkable.
I know we're a little down on the Orioles right now, Ross, in Baltimore. I know you're in Bradenton, but it's easy when you watch them on a nightly basis. What has been surprising is not the plethora of pitching injuries. They're going to happen to every team. But a team that looked like it was really kind of set as an offensive team that would consistently put up numbers and always have pitchers sort of having to work hard. And I'll say that the club does still make starters work hard, but I'm just shocked that the downturn in O'Hearn. I'm shocked in the downturn in Rutschman. Mountcastle's been so iffy for me. Mullins has had a down year. There's just not a lot of there right now. The only the only two players that are sort of trending up a little bit are Cowser and Orius right now. And Santander does hit a lot of home runs. I love them, but he's not been a world beater. I mean, he may be the most valuable Oriole, but that's on a down Oriole team this year a little.
Really, you know what? I mean, they were on fire earlier, and just waiting for you can divide a season up into guys playing real well, playing average, and playing poorly. But I tell you one thing that they do uh, as a whole is they bust their butts every night. They run down they beat out. Well, they won a game the other night because
When
what
Cowser
Cowser
beat out a ball,
beat
yeah.
out a bunt or a
It was
swing.
against, in fairness, it was against maybe the slowest moving first baseman
Oh
I've
yeah,
ever
but
seen, John
but
Singleton.
the deal is these guys, the young guys especially. Now the older guys, they got to do what they got to do, but these young players bust their butts. They beat out balls. They make the fielders hurry throws at times. So that is something that really will pay dividends for them. But they're going through a downtime hitting, a lot of injuries. But they're able to stay close with the injuries they've had, pitching wise especially,
Yeah.
and they just find a way to win. And who knows? They may not win the division, but they're going to be in the wild card more than likely.
Ross, let me ask you a question. I heard Billy Ripken on a local radio show this afternoon, Ken Wyman and Jason Lock and Forest show. I was driving around, and he said something very interesting. He said, you take like Eddie Murray, Cal Ripken, Derek Jeter. He said those kind of players all had a lot more seasoning in the minor leagues than, say, Rutschman, of course, Holiday,
Right.
and Gunnar Henderson. That they've been through a lot of stuff that 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 carries you when you get to the major leagues. You sort of realize that you're maybe in a down rhythm, and maybe you're able to adjust a little quicker.
Well, you got to understand too that a lot of these players in the big leagues now don't have former big league players tutoring them, helping them through things that they went through now, and going through it at the minor league level and learning how to make adjustments. I mean, it's just not adjustments every month, every week. It's every day in a lot of cases, and it's adjustments during a game. And you don't have people to pass that on to you, that experience. You're going to go through some tough times, and a lot of it's going to be on your own shoulders. So I think a lot of these guys, they get some veteran players in the clubhouse that can really help them out. And it's just that they're going through a downtime. They could be tired because again, it's a new thing for them to play this many games.
Yep.
And they haven't done that in the past. and it's a learning thing, and
Yeah.
they have and like I said before, the hustle and the knowledge of how to play the game. The Orioles play it right. They do a lot of good things, and just doing that will get them through. But yeah, it's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of negatives, but you just got to learn to handle them and learn how to make adjustments to get through it.
Ross, do me one favor. Can you lift your camera, lift lift up? No, the other
Good
way.
now.
I'm
There
sorry.
There
I
we
we
go.
go.
meant
How's
down.
that?
There you go. So you're in your bottom. Okay. Luke, um, what I was leading into there, but we got into Oriole talk though, was you remember last year when I previewed the playoffs, I said the Rangers are the least likely team to end up winning the World
I
Series.
do remember that.
All right.
Yes.
So I'm not saying surprises don't happen, but this year especially, it wouldn't surprise me of any matchup, that makes it into the playoffs. Like it could be Minnesota playing Atlanta, or it could be Minnesota playing Arizona. It could be Cleveland. I don't think there's a great team. I know I said it earlier. Your thoughts on that? That there's really a parity. There's like about 10 teams with 70 wins or more, nobody at 80, and that's 11 or 12 teams within 5 or 6 games of one another.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open, I would say. And that's why I think the Orioles probably believe that if they get some key guys healthy by mid to late September, that they have as good a chance as anyone to get healthy, to get hot, and to make a run in October.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard, it would be hard to say that that's not the case. It's just that we see them play every day. So we see all the flaws over the past 2 months, and we see the rotation that they're running out every 5 days. Uh, and we see what the lineup looked like this past weekend, particularly the bottom third of it. Uh, so sometimes you're a little too close to it to really take that 30,000 foot view.
Yeah.
But I think they're still in a place where I think they're 3 up on the second wild card team. So if the season ended today, they would host a wild card series.
Right.
Now the Yankees have the schedule advantage from this point forward. The Yankees do have a softer schedule, particularly this week. They face the Nationals while the Orioles are in LA facing the
Right.
Dodgers. So I think at this point the Yankees on Fangraphs and
They play
baseball.
St. Louis while we're playing Colorado
Yeah, I think on Fangraphs and Baseball Reference at this point, the Yankees are a pretty sizable favorite to
to
win the
win the
division.
division.
But like I said before, I think the Orioles are probably looking at this like, let's get as many people healthy as we can over the next 5 weeks. And if we can do that, we've got as good a chance as anybody to make a run in the playoffs.
All right. Go over it real quick for Ross and I. I don't have my phone because it's charging in the other room, so I was going to look at the standings. Who do we think are going to make the playoffs in the American League? It certainly looks like um, Houston is going to be one of the teams.
They'll win
Correct?
the West.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while it's up in the air, I think all three of Cleveland, Minnesota, and Kansas City are going to make the playoffs, most likely.
Could happen. Boston, I think, is 3 or 4 games out of that final wild card
Yeah.
spot. They've been just so spotty all year, and you're thinking that if they can ever get their lineup fully healthy, and it sort of is right now with Casas back, but Casas a little compromised. He's not 100% healthy. They've got Tyler O'Neill back. When they have their full lineup together, they can really score runs. But it's been a grind for them in the rotation, and it's been really a grind for them defensively and out of the bullpen.
Okay.
That's really where, and so I don't know if there's enough there for them to overtake one of the AL Central teams who should, I'm guessing, have an easier schedule the rest of the way than the Red Sox do.
Okay. Um, National League, take me through that, Luke. It looks like the Phillies, even though their lead has been dropped, the 6 games.
They're the easy favorites to win the East, yes.
I know they're still huge
Yeah.
favorites. Looks like Milwaukee will win the Central pretty easily.
They've been one of the best stories of the year. Yep.
Yeah, they have. That leaves you with the 3 teams out west. And who makes that third wild card spot in the National League? Is it most likely Atlanta
Or the Mets.
or the Mets, right?
Yeah.
And maybe San Francisco even.
And the Mets just had a really tough loss yesterday. They were up 2-0 going into the eighth inning with their top two relievers available, and both Budo and Diaz gave up home runs.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned before, Merrill hit the game winner. So that was a tough loss for them. That would have been a big one. So I think at this point, what you mentioned is probably the most likely scenario, that the Mets end up being just out and then Atlanta gets that final wild card spot. But there's still a lot of games to be played. I'm sure the Mets and the Braves have a series in here soon,
Yeah.
where one of them can uh, make up a lot of ground on the other. So,
All right. Let me take a moment to tell folks about the Costas Inn. The Costas Inn, classes back in, schools are open. So you might be looking for a place to grab the kids when you get home and eat out. So no better place if you're in that Middle River, Essex, Dundalk, Sparrows Point than the Thumbs Up place, Costas Inn.
thumbs up.
Thumbs up all around. Again, great nightly specials Monday through Friday. Also, some inexpensive items on menus like the pit beef sandwiches, pit turkey. Inexpensive doesn't mean bad, by the way. They're real good. They've been doing them for years, so they know how to make you a big sandwich of pit beef. The nightly specials, though, always affordable and always really good. Seafood, chicken, pasta, beef, like steaks and things like that. And then, of course, there's the crabs at the Costas Inn, 4100 North Point Boulevard. You can check out the menu in advance at costasinn.com, costasinn.com. And you can do carry out there or drive through. Just call them at 410-477-1975 or go to Costas Inn and pick out your items. You can select the items, pay for it online. You don't even have to get out of your car. But if you do want to get into the restaurant so you can watch the Oriole games or something like that, you can do it. There's screens everywhere in the bar area, the restaurant area, and they got every sport event that you could possibly want. That's the Costas Inn. We give it 6 thumbs up. Luke Jackson, we're waiting. There we go. 6 thumbs up for the Costas Inn. All right. We finish up. We'll circle back to the Orioles right now. Ross, you watch enough of the games. I know you don't watch every at bat and every inning of every game like some of us here in Baltimore. But what do you think's happening to Adley Rutschman?
He might be wore down a little bit. And like I said earlier, I think a lot of these guys are going through. I mean, they had really strong seasons going up until just recently. And it's just, get a second wind here.
Not to interrupt you, but I wish I could say it was just recently with Adley. He's been like 2 months close to it, right, Luke?
Yeah, it's been since about late June.
No,
some have pointed to, I think it was June 27, around that range, when he got hit in the hand with, I believe, a fastball against the Rangers. Now he hit a home run like 2 at bats later.
Okay.
But perhaps that has had a lingering effect. I don't know. Yeah. But that's been pointed to, that since that date, he's been pretty bad. And not much power. So
he's been swinging at some bad pitches too.
Yeah. I mean, last night he was kind of flailing for sure.
That's been the uncharacteristic thing with him.
Right.
I mean, do hitters, good hitters, I won't call him a great hitter. He's not George Brett, but he's not Matt Wieters either.
Right.
He's a solid 280 type of hitter. Do they go through periods where they are flailing?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody, pitchers go through.
Well, you always saw them when they flailed because they were batting against such a great pitcher.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot. You're right. Thanks. But no, hitters go through slumps, and the idea when a hitter goes through slumps, you just try to make contact and take good swings and put the bat on the ball and hit it hard. But you start going through some swinging at bad pitches. I know Bonds was the greatest I've ever seen. And at one point, he would never get pitches, to hit.
Mhm.
And he started swinging at everything thrown up there because he said, I don't want to swing. I don't want to walk. But he starts swinging the bat at bad pitches. And the hitting coach, Joe LaFay, told him, you're swinging at bad pitches. He says, you think I don't know that?
Right.
Of course I am. I'm tired of walking.
Right. Well, it's funny you say that. His walk numbers in his highest home run total seasons, his walks were like astronomical. He'd have like 185 walks
Yeah.
and 60 home runs, and you go, what the hell's left of I mean, it's like 250
It's
of these
amazing.
bats are
It's
home runs or
amazing.
walks.
It's amazing in itself that he takes so many pitches, but when he gets a pitch, he just
Doesn't
jumps
miss it.
all over it.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I don't think I've ever seen, and I never pitched to him. I'm just other than throwing batting practice to him, and I mean, his vision, seeing the ball, and being able to keep a ball fair on a pitch inside, it almost hits him. That is a quite a feat right there. But he was something else. But I mean, like I said, everybody goes through tough times. You just got to find and bear with it and make adjustments and just get back to the basics. And that's what a lot of guys go. There's a lot of people are going through not playing really good ball right now. There's only a handful of that
Is
are
it
playing.
true, Ross? Is it true that the real reason that Bonds took the cream, which he's never admitted to, but there have been people that testified that he used it, was that he was pissed off at how popular and what a big deal Sosa and McGuire were. And he said, okay, I know you guys are cheating. I'll show you what somebody can do when they cheat. But what did the cheat, how did it advantage Barry Bonds? Was it that he would bounce back from injury or soreness
I believe that if there's something you can do to bounce back and not be as sore,
or the next day?
I think everybody would do it.
Right.
Because I mean, you want to recover, and we just took anti-inflammatory, sometimes too many,
Right.
and but you pitch in a 4-man rotation, we always do on the side, in between starts, and getting the ball to home plate was sometimes a real task. But yeah, I mean, that was I think in his case, he was an outstanding hitter no matter what he did.
I know. Before that, he was a
really
Hall of
didn't make
Fame.
it didn't make a difference. But I think anything you could do to make you feel better, recover quicker, you're going to do it.
Ross, one last one for you. If you had to pitch to one hitter and the two possibilities were Barry Bonds or Aaron Judge, who are you pitching to?
Neither one of them. with guys on base?
Yeah.
No, I ain't gonna. That's the thing they don't do now. They, for some reason,
They keep pitching to
they
him.
pitch to them. I'm going, guys. These are two guys that are swinging the bat as good as anybody, or swung the bat as good as anybody. No.
You're not pitching to either.
No, and not away.
So
I'll
you
take my
pitched
chance
to
with
both.
somebody else.
You pitched to both of them, but you give them a four
Yeah,
pitches.
Really.
Right?
With nobody on, I'll pitch to them.
All right.
With
Luke,
somebody
I know
on,
it's
be careful.
way early to be projecting this, but if you had to pick your World Series matchup right now, who is in your World Series? Luke Jackson's hypothetical World Series.
We're going with Arizona and New York, a rematch of the 2001 World Series.
Okay.
How about it?
All right, that's
What's
pretty interesting. Pretty interesting.
Although I kind of wanted to ask Ross what it was like to throw batting practice to Barry Bonds. I kind of wanted to ask him about that. So what we always hear about, like, these great hitters, their routines, right? To get ready for a game. What was Barry's routine in terms of how he handled batting practice? Like,
You mean aside from rubbing the cream
yeah,
on?
like, what do you do each round to get himself ready? What did he want out of you when you were throwing him BP, that sort of thing?
He wanted he wanted it a little extra on it, put a little juice on it, and you could throw it anywhere. You could throw it anywhere you want. But the thing that I would throw a ball that would be this far outside off the plate.
Mhm.
And he would, where was that? I go, it was a baseball off the plate. So the next ball I would throw might have been this far off the plate. It's a ball. He would take it. I'm going, there's no way that you can, I mean, there's this much to that much. I mean, that is some vision right
So
there.
he disciplined himself in batting
Yeah,
practice,
no, he
not
knew
to swing.
really.
Yeah.
It'd be, I mean, left on left. He always wanted to hit off of left-handed pitchers, and that was one of my jobs during spring training, is to pitch to him. And some days I'd go over there, and it was just me, him, and another coach. Now
Well, that's what, where you screwed up. You should have tried to talk him in being his translator. Then
hey,
you would have gotten access to the
let
millions
me
and
tell
millions
you.
of dollars.
I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story. This is great. So Bonds, when he was hitting all the home runs, they called him into the front office. General manager Dick Tidrow was there, and he said, "What can we?" They asked him, "What can we do for you to make this?" He goes, "Well, I want that left-handed guy that throws to me in spring training." And they go, "Well, who?" He says, "That guy's got a mustache, and he's so he didn't know who the hell I was. He had no idea what my name was. And so they're thinking, who you have a guy that throws to you. There was a young kid, Will Mallarich, left-handed pitcher, didn't have a lot, and he would just abuse them, yelling at him and stuff. So anyway, they go, "Are you talking about Ross Grimsley?" He goes, "Oh yeah, the old guy, that old guy." So they tell me the next day, Tidrow and what was the general manager? I can't.
Sabian?
Brian Sabian. So I'm on the half field catching balls thrown by Aurelia, the shortstop. So they pull up behind me in the cart and tell me the story. And I'm going, "Oh, really?" And Tidrow put my baseball card up in his locker.
That's great.
Oh my God.
That is great.
He wanted me. He goes, "You can't take him on the road with you. He's one of our minor league pitching coaches." He wanted to take me on the road with him. I'm going, "Oh God."
That would have been great.
Well, you know what? It's funny. Buck Showalter always used to say that left-handed batting practice throwers, good left-handed batting practice throwers,
hard to
were like
find.
gold.
Yeah.
And once you had one of those, that you would really try to hold on to those guys.
Oh yeah, I tell you, though, as silly as it sounds, throwing batting guys, some guys can't do it. They can't throw the ball over the plate.
Yeah.
They can't even throw it near the plate. And to put something, a little juice on it, now you're throwing behind a screen. I mean, it's not as easy as it sounds, but once you gear into it and get the
Well,
going.
the thing you got to do is you got to use the cream if you're an older gentleman that throws the ball.
He didn't give me any of that. I wish he would have. I had to
Hey
use
guys,
other stuff.
we've got a dash today. Normally I'd go on with you, but I got to help somebody delivering something. Luke Jackson, Ross Grimsley, I'm Stan the Fan Charles. You can read my new power rankings. They're up today on PressBoxOnline.com. O's are off tonight. Play the Dodgers 3 nights in a row at Chavez Ravine. We've been brought to you by AJ Michaels. What company makes your home more energy efficiency, kills all allergens and viruses, and qualifies you for $6,000 in rebates? That's AJ Michaels. Turn to the experts, AJ Michaels and Carrier at ajmichaels.com. We've also been brought to you by our friends at Atman's, the new deli at Harbor Point. Atman's Deli at Harbor Point, now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at the bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition. And guys, I need your thumbs one more time. We're also brought to you by the Six Thumbs Place, the Costas Inn, out there on North Point Boulevard, in the heart of Sparrows Point, Dundalk, Middle River, and Essex. Again, we are glad you are watching this show, and we'd appreciate it if you'd like it. Follow it and share our show. Thank you. You make the show worth doing. For the three of us, that's it for now. Bye.